Welcome to The Explainer. So glad you're here with us today because we're unpacking something that honestly, it's going to completely shift how you look at your day-to-day life. We're diving into this incredibly fascinating piece called The Lens of Probability, Mastering Intention and Reality. You know, if you ever just felt like life is happening to you, like you're stuck in the passenger seat on a ride you just can't steer, well, today we're flipping that script. We're going to explore this wild concept of the mind, not as some passive sponge just soaking things up, but as an active, super powerful lens that literally shapes the reality you experience. All right, let's jump right into it. So, is your reality governed by chance? I mean, if you asked around, most people walking down the street would probably give you a resounding yes. We've kind of been conditioned to think that probability is totally fixed, right? That our lives are dictated by random luck, chance, and all these external forces completely out of our hands. We picture the universe just rolling the dice, and we just have to play the hand we're dealt. But as our source material beautifully points out, those who understand the deeper mechanics of reality know something vastly different. The idea that chance is the only thing sitting in the driver's seat, it's actually a massive misconception. And that brings us to the core thesis of today's explainer. Probability is fluid. Just let that sink in for a second. Probability is fluid. At this exact moment, right now, countless potential outcomes exist all at once. Every single choice you make, every little interaction, it's like a giant tree branching out into infinite directions. There's no single predetermined track you're stuck on. So you're probably wondering, what actually determines which of those countless branches becomes your real lived everyday experience? Well, it's not a roll of the dice. It's your attention. And more specifically, it's your attention guided by intention. Which brings us to section 1, probability is not fixed. Let's go ahead and completely shatter this illusion of chance. Okay, so if probability is this fluid, endless field of paths, the engine that actually collapses those paths down into your reality is focus. But actually, scratch the way you usually think about that word. We need to redefine it. Focus is absolutely not passive observation. It's not just sitting back, grabbing some popcorn, and watching the world play out on a screen. Focus is active selection. See, when you place your sustained attention on something, you aren't just noticing it. You are literally amplifying the likelihood of it happening. It's wild, but this is exactly why the things you consistently think about actually start showing up in your life. You are actively narrowing down that massive, infinite field of probability right down to a specific outcome. Section 2, focus is selection. Let's really get into the nuts and bolts of how this actually works. Think of your attention like a really powerful magnet. There's this incredible idea backed by ancient mystics and modern quantum physicists alike that says attention carries energy and energy organizes reality. I mean, that is just profound. When you concentrate on an outcome with extreme clarity and you really align your emotions with it, you start taking all that floating random uncertainty and you collapse it into a crystal clear, tangible direction. Your attention, it isn't just some fleeting thought popping into your head. It is a literal energetic force. To put that into perspective, compare a scattered mind to a regular old light bulb. A light bulb diffuses energy in every direction, right? It lights up a room, but because that energy is spread so thin, nothing stabilizes. The power is diluted, which leaves you with incredibly inconsistent results in life. But on the flip side, a focused mind acts like a magnifying glass in the sun. It takes that exact same energy and concentrates it into a single laser-like beam. By doing that, you drastically increase the probability that your specific desired outcomes will actually emerge. And honestly, this right here, this is why mastering your attention is just an absolute game changer. It's pure power. Moving on to section 3, fear versus certainty. Let's look at how this actually plays out with our day-to-day emotional alignment. So, it's one thing to understand focus conceptually, right? Like, okay, I get it, focus is good. But our internal emotional states are in the background, constantly dictating our reality. Let's look at fear. When you operate from a place of fear, you're repeatedly focusing on worst-case scenarios. And remember, since focus is selection, your mind starts hunting for every little sign to confirm that fearful expectation. Your decisions subtly, almost invisibly really, start aligning with avoidance, tension, and hesitation. And over time, boom, that feared outcome actually becomes more likely. Not because it was written in the stars, but because your focus basically rolled out the red carpet for it. Now compare that to certainty. When you hold a clear vision with this calm expectation and emotional stability, everything changes. You actually recognize opportunities instead of being blind to them. You evaluate risks with clarity instead of just panicking. You are literally shifting the probability field to your advantage. The absolutely crucial takeaway here is that none of this is magic. It's a very logical sequence. Step 1, focus changes behavior.
Whether you're obsessing over fear or locking into certainty, it completely alters how you act. Step 2, behavior changes outcomes. It just makes sense. Your new actions naturally yield new results. And finally, step 3, outcomes appear meant to happen. When the result finally shows up at your door, it feels like destiny. It feels like magic. But as this explainer breaks down, it was really just a chain reaction that you sparked the second you chose where to place your attention.
And there's an even deeper layer to this that is just absolutely fascinating. Thousands. That is the number of daily stimuli throwing themselves at you every single day. I mean, thousands of pieces of information. Out of all that noise, your mind is forced to filter reality based entirely on what you prioritize. You are literally incapable of processing the whole world all at once. Instead, you are only experiencing the specific version of the world that your focus selects and allows through that filter.
All right, section 4, training your lens. Let's make this highly actionable and talk about how you actually take control.
So, how do we actually stop being at the mercy of all those scattered thoughts? Well, the rule is surprisingly simple but incredibly profound. Change your focus and your reality reorganizes. Most people just let their attention be yanked in a million different directions by fear, constant notifications, digital noise, external demands. It's exhausting. And as a result, their probability field is just total chaos. But if you stop allowing that external noise to just scatter your attention to the wind, reality quietly begins to align itself. Now, our source is very clear about this. It doesn't happen instantly, and it's not a magic trick, but it does happen consistently. Okay, so how do we actually train this lens? The text highlights 3 main tools: meditation, visualization, and intentional awareness. And hey, no, this does not mean you have to go live in a cave on a mountain for 10 years. You aren't doing these things to escape the world. You're doing them as deliberate, high-leverage exercises to train your mind. It's like running to the gym for your attention span. The more precise your focus gets through these practices, the more precisely you can steer the direction of your life. You slowly become someone who moves with absolute clarity, who makes decisions with intention, and who can hold a vision without just collapsing under the pressure of the day. And that brings us to our final thought for today. Probability does not just randomly respond to chance, it responds to where you place your awareness. So I want to leave you with a question, something to really chew on as you go about your day. What reality is your lens selecting right now? Are you accidentally focusing on fear and chaos, or are you actively, intentionally selecting certainty and clarity? Because the power to organize the whole shebang, your entire reality, it's sitting right there in your attention. Use it wisely. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on The Explainer today. I absolutely can't wait to dive into our next topic together. Until then, keep that focus sharp.